Hi, Shalom everyone. As you can see, I'm surrounded by trolleys over here, as we call it agalot, here in Hebrew. And we're talking about something similar in today's page over here. We're talking all about wagons in today's page over here inside the Gemara. All within regards to when you're making a purchase and you're purchasing a wagon, does it include something called the peradot over here? Is that included in the keren, which is called the wagons? When you're buying a wagon, what is included within it? Because naturally, back in the olden days, if one had a wagon, was using a wagon, obviously they needed pulled by something, and it was pulled by animals over here. So is that included in this purchase sale or not over here? So it's actually an interesting question, because we know that the animal that would carry the wagons back in those days, or pull the wagons back in those days, is something called a pered over here. Pered, what does that mean, friends? It means something called a mule. That will be things that carries it. So is that included in this purchase sale over here or not? That can be the question over here. When you're paying, let's say, back in those days, you were using something called a currency of a zuz in those days. That was a monetary value used in those time periods over there. Was those zuzim that you were paying for this wagon, was that included the mule that was carrying the thing itself? But then another question could be posed also is, what is really peradot? Because they're saying it's a wagon, and peradot you're actually potentially buying over here. So what is the peradot itself? Maybe it's not a mule over here. So according to another opinion, I think Rabbi Yehuda, he holds that the peradot itself, which one might think is included in the sale, is a wooden poles attached to this wagon over here. That's what's included over here. So when you're paying 200 zuz for, like, say, a huge wagon over here, it's not including any animal. It's included the wooden poles that will potentially help when it comes to pulling this specific wagon in of itself. But what does it include? But then I think they conclude in today's page, and they state that over here, it's obvious if it's including the animal or not. Let's say if it was really a mule over here, it was really a pered, it will be obvious over here, because it will reflect within regards to the price. We all know what a price, the market value of a wagon will be. Say, for example, hypothetically, it's, say, 30 zuz, and you're paying 200 zuz. Most likely it's including this mule, this animal that's carrying the things, because that's got a lot of intrinsic value. So then it will be very obvious. And we've talked about it in tomorrow's Daf, in page 78. We're going to talk about overcharging over here. So naturally, people will know what the market price is. Experts will know what the market price is, and one is not going to get ripped off, and you can actually reflect it on what the prices are over here. Friends, there's actually some nice wagon displays here in the city of Bet Shemesh. I don't want to drive all the way for it. Maybe it would have been appropriate for this video over here, but I think the shopping trolleys was second best over here. I'm actually surrounded by cars, so we could have used that also. Friends, dedicating this Lulun Shmat to Sarah, Yudit, Bat Esther, and wishing you all a fantastic day here from Israel.